right, YouTube, we're here with James Stone. James, what you got for us, bro?
World Chalice Guardragon.
All right, let's get right into this shit.
It's one of the best decks I've ever played with. A lot of fun, and I just like this combination of cards. So starting out with normal monsters, one each of our chosen trio. So we've got Beckoned by the World Chalice, Crowned by the World Chalice, and Chosen by the World Chalice. Each different levels, different attributes and effects, so that's always good to have. Or nice flavor text. Also, Guardragon Justicia. It's another dragon target. It's normal, so you can get it with unexpected die, things like that. It's always nice to have an extra option for that. We'll come back to some more normal monsters here in a minute, but of course you run 3 Lee and 3 World Legacy World Chalice. So arguably one of the best cards in the deck. Being able to get 2 extra bodies on the field, being able to send this and get rid of one of your opponent's extra deck monsters is really great. And then of course our Stratos for the deck, being able to search things.
Okay, so that's what she does, all right. Cool.
Yeah, so you normal or special summon her, and she adds a World Chalice monster from the deck to the hand. So you can use this along with Transmodify, which I'll show later on, to get into Venus, and as long as you don't get ashed, which is what we pray against, that you'll be fine. So 3 of each of those for sure.
That works, okay.
Of course, 2 of my favorite guard does. I'm toying with upping him to 3 and be a 41 card deck if I do, but for now I like him at 2. He's able to use the level 1 to tune with Beckoned if you need to, or his effect when you leave him on the field or in your hand to negate the destruction of stuff that's being targeted is really nice. So I like him in there. Of course, I talked about Transmodify earlier, so I've got 3 Venus and 3 Shine Ball. Such an excellent engine for this deck. If you get Venus to activate, you pretty much win, or at least you should. Of course, you don't want to have things like Effect Veiler or Ghost Ogre, but Ash Blossom you just play right through, it doesn't matter.
Bang.
Alright, just a few random one-ofs. So I do run Archlord Christia in the deck, because we do run so many fairies between Lee and the Venuses. I can pretty much manipulate relatively well how I want this card to be on the field. And worst case scenario, you do have your Saryuja special summon to put this thing down. Some decks just can't play through it. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, because we are playing the Guardragon variant. Gotta have this thing. If they hit it, I don't know what we would do as far as changing that around, but right now he just makes it too easy to use guard dragons. Speaking of dragons, Omni Dragon Brotar, my little bro. Every once in a while it's a neat play with him being summoned out and being able to target one of your leftover Shine Balls and add this to your hand. So sometimes it gets around that way depending on what the deck is, but for the most part I just like having him in there as an extra choice. We also are playing the Monstrosity variant, so I have 2 level 9 monsters. These can really be whatever you want as long as there are different attributes and types from each other and the target you're going to aim for, which we aim for Archfiend Abyss. So I just chose Thunder King and Deuce X Crawler because they're cheap and available.
They work.
And then finally, 3 of any hand traps. I choose Ash. Honestly though, because we are a combo deck, having these hand traps or contingencies doesn't always work, so sometimes they'll get shuffled out as far as the side deck goes into something that's more beneficial against my mashup. So that's it for the monsters.
What's the monster count, do you know?
I do not have an exact monster count, but it's pretty monster heavy.
Yeah, we'll count it later.
40 card total.
Yeah.
40 card total. Alright, so starting with spells, of course 3 Called by the Grave. As I mentioned, we are a combo heavy deck, so we don't want to get ashed or Effect Veilered or whatever. So we use Called by the Grave in deck, and you want to see it hopefully every hand. Also, Twin Twisters are in the deck because nobody likes Mystic Mind, and I'm going to play this main deck until Mystic Mind gets hurt.
That's the thing, dude, and it's annoying as shit.
Again, easy side outs.
Yes.
If you don't need them, you get rid of them, and it's just the way it goes. 2 Transmodify. I was toying around with 3, but I found it to be way too bricky. 2 is a good consistency, because that way if I, for some reason, only open up 1 Shine Ball and Transmodify, or ideally Lee and Transmodify, I know I can get into Venus and be able to continue my plays. For the one-ofs, we've got World Legacy Monstrosity, World Legacy Heart, and World Legacy Succession. So depending on what I already have in my hand, using just a card to be able to search for one of the others is good.
Okay.
World Legacy's Heart, while it does add back some resources, is also really nice for later in the game when somebody tries to destroy your links. You can banish it and protect yourself for that one time. So sometimes that's all you need.
That'd be sick, yeah.
With things like Ningirsu, being able to have another turn to send something is great. And then of course Succession is just such a good card. If I could squeeze another one in, I probably would try, but right now I like this ratio.
4 is good.
And then, of course, just other one-ofs, so Monster Reborn, Unexpected Die, and Emergency Teleport. Again, you could probably change the number of Unexpected Die if you wanted, but honestly, if I get it, it's just a bonus. I want to have my normal summon for Venus.
So.
All right, so that's it for the main deck. No traps. So let's look at the extra deck. Of course, it's a very Link spammy deck, so we're going to use a lot of Links in this. For our Link ones, we've got Link Spider. He's a good option if you have multiple normal monsters in your hand, or if you're just trying to make something else to get into something bigger. Link Spider is good. 2 World Chalice, Imduk.
What does that do?
All right, so Guardragon, World Chalice. Imduk, the World Chalice Guardragon, is the best Link monster in this deck. And I will stand by that, and you can fight me. Because without him, none of this happens.
All right.
So he gives you an additional normal summon. And if for some reason you get him up into this top zone and the person has a monster there in front of it, it can instantly destroy it in battle. But you need it to start all your stuff off.
Yeah.
So if you summon a normal monster, summon into Imduk, and then use that additional normal summon to summon World Legacy World Chalice, you're pretty much already set up to have a really good board. But I run 2. If I could fit in the room, I'd run 3, because sometimes you do need to be able to respond to other stuff. But for now, 2 is a good
You
place
recycle it
for
with
him.
heart? You recycle it with heart?
Yes, you can get it back with heart. You can get any of the monsters that say World Chalice in their name. So that includes Justicar, that includes any of your Link monsters. They just go back to the extra deck instead of your hand. The last Link one, I'm only playing Guardragon LP. I'm not playing Guardragon Pitsy right now because I try to go into Ib, the World Chalice Priestess, as my other arrow. And very rarely do I need Pitsy to get something back from the graveyard. It might be something I toy around with later, but for right now, LP is all I really need. And once I get her on the board, everything else kind of falls into place.
We got video, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen the video.
We got video.
As far as Link 2 goes, so you got your classic Chalice monsters. So you've got Arum and Ib. Again, both really good. Arum's a good way to start out your board if all you have is World Legacy World Chalice and a monster. There's Link 2 into this one, and then you can use them to recycle.
Okay.
There have been times in later game where I've been able to get him out and use his Monster Reborn effect, because people forget that you can get back any monster in your graveyard. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as what you tribute here is a World Chalice. So if you can get Guardragon back to get back a normal monster to this World Chalice, pop him and be able to go to, like Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon or Christia, it's fair game. Ib, good protection. And then another Link 2 is going to be Guardragon Agripane. And then finally, Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. This is one of the newer cards I've added in to try to get rid of these guard dragons so I'm not locked into dragons anymore. And also it's just disruption affecting my opponent's turn is too good not to have. Alright, so moving on to the higher links, of course, Ningirsu. A lot of people aren't playing this anymore, but sometimes it just gets you out of boards that you can't get out of. That non-targeting, just sending to the grave is fantastic. Link 4s include Mekk-Knight Crusadia Abramax. Just a good one, lore-wise, and also for attack. Sometimes you just need him to be your big guy to swing over stuff. And of course, Saryuja, because you can and you draw cards, and it's great.
Yeah.
But that's all the links. As far as the other summoning types, I do run True King of All Calamities as my only Xyz monster. Monstrosity just makes it too easy, man. And being able to put cards back in with Saryuja to make sure you don't have those dead level 9s in your hands is fantastic. And then as far as the synchros go, of course, Justicar. I do run Borreload Savage Dragon. Just in case, because sometimes you can get Justicar out with Chosen later in the game, and you use your Saryuja to get those 4 negation tokens on it. And then finally Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, which is what I'm summoning out with Guardragon. So
that damn monstrosity after that is retarded.
It's such a good build, man. And then real quickly, I'll go through the side deck. This is my personal choices, so you can probably find a lot better ones for it. I like to side in the Kaiju package, as I'm already running Thunder King in here. So I have the Dogaran, Radian, and Gamma Seal. And then I also side in 2 Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers. I tried playing 3, don't really need 3, because again, this is a combo deck. You can't really afford to switch everything out. But it does help to be able to clear away problem boards and just kind of give you a place to set where you can start building more stuff. Also, of course, 3 evenly matched.
Hey,
just a side deck staple at this point. I mean, you might as well go ahead and have it in there. And sometimes there's just stuff you can't do, so you gotta get out of the way. Again, more spell and back row hate with Cosmic Cyclone. If I see Mystic Mine, I don't want to ever have to see Mystic Mine again. I want to be able to banish it. And then the last little bit is just kind of something I'm playing around with, is using the World Chalice, Guardragon, Almaduke, and then its different fusion cards.
Have you summoned that thing one time?
Not using my opponent's monsters, no. Before I made this build of the deck, this was in the main deck, or at least like this card was in the main deck, so I could get it out with my own monsters. But so far, there's not a lot of link-heavy decks. But this thing that would be good would be against things like Salamangrains that spam out a lot of links on the board. Some variants of Trickstar. It's just nice to have. So every once in a while, if I see that I'm not able to get into Boarload Savage, I'll side this in and then side in one of my own so I can use my own Link monsters, and then 2 Super Poly if I see that they're using a lot of Link monsters.
Freaking game. Well, all right, that's the deck. Thank you, James, for showcasing that for us, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Man. Yes, sir.